Here's the part that gets people mad. I won $8.7 million and told my family they're getting nothing. My name's Ava from a cul-de-sac in Ohio where love had a price tag. Mom, Marianne, ran our house like a ledger. Dad, Paul, co-signed the silence. And my sister, Lena, crowned princess since kindergarten. I was the responsible one, a walking overdraft. Family helps family, they'd purr. Translation, I pay. When I finally said no, Marianne hissed, "You're not our daughter if you won't contribute." Shocked, because I was. Anxiety lived in my throat. Guilt slept on my chest. So tell me, if you were me, what would you do? Like, comment, share, if entitlement makes your blood boil. We deserve it. Do I sound heartless? I grew up in a cul-de-sac where the grass was trimmed, the smiles were rehearsed, and love came with a receipt. I'm Ava, and if you've ever been the responsible one, you already know the script. Marianne, my mother, could turn guilt into an instrument, like a violinist who practiced every day until the strings bled. Paul, my dad, was the metronome. Steady, silent, always ticking along with whatever she said. And Lena, my younger sister, was crowned early. The girl who could do no wrong, the promise of the family, the one we were all supposed to invest in. My role? Be the safe, invisible scaffolding. Work hard, pay quietly, smile in photos. It started small. Chores that somehow became life skills. Budgeting the grocery list at 14, balancing a checkbook I didn't own, calling utility companies to negotiate late fees when mom forgot to pay. Marianne would cup my face and purr, "You're my steady girl," like it was a blessing, not a sentence. When Lena broke a lamp, "Ava, be a good sister and take responsibility." When she lost her allowance on a Sephora binge, "Ava, don't you have some savings?" The math never added up. One daughter got privileges, the other became an emergency fund in sneakers. Family helps family, Marianne loved to say. Translation, Ava pays. By college, I was clocking double shifts and taking 18 credits because loans were embarrassing to Marianne and too complicated for Paul. Meanwhile, Lena partied through state school like it was sponsored content. The first time I said, "I can't," Marianne dropped the line that still burns. "Don't be dramatic, Ava. You're not built for struggle like your sister." Built for struggle. As if God stamped me with a barcode that screamed, "Use freely." When Lena's credit imploded, careless spending, late payments, I paid the $15,000 card balance just this once. When she totaled her car texting at a light, I co-signed the new SUV. When her boyfriend got arrested, I posted bail because we don't abandon family. Every holiday became a staged performance. Pot roast, faux warmth, and that soft-voiced ask, "Sweetheart, could you help Lena just until she gets on her feet?" Spoiler, Lena's feet were always almost there. I was the treadmill. Here's the part that may sting if you're the designated strong one. No one asked how I was doing. Not once. Not, "Can you afford this?" Not, "Are you eating okay?" I ate noodles in silence and smiled at the right moments because saying no meant I was selfish, ungrateful, cold. I'd walk to my car after Sunday dinners with my chest tight, my hands shaking, rehearsing speeches I'd never give. You know that feeling when your phone lights up and your stomach drops because you know it's another crisis? That was my baseline. Anxiety lived in my throat. Sleep happened in fragments. But the world clapped when I showed up reliable, and my family rewarded reliability with more responsibility. "You're so good with money," Marianne would coo, and I wanted to scream, "No, I'm just good at bleeding quietly." By 29, I'd handed over more than $60,000. Not investments, not loans, disappearing acts. You think they said thank you? Not really. The closest I got was Marianne's patronizing smile. That's my girl. My girl? Or your walking overdraft. I remember standing in the bathroom one Thanksgiving, gripping the sink, listening through the door as Marianne told an aunt, "Ava will help, she always does." Like a weather report, like a forecast you can bank on. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back. Flat ponytail, tired eyes, jaw tight from swallowing no for a decade. If you're hearing this and you feel heat in your face because it's a little too familiar, yeah, me too. Drop a comment if you've been the dependable one so long, no one remembers you're human. Hit like if your love has ever been treated like credit. Because what came next shook me awake, and I promise you'll want to hear it. Family is everything, Marianne liked to say, and I believed it. But I learned something ugly. Some families only love you if you come with a pin. And when I finally changed mine, everything snapped. The day everything tilted was a Tuesday that felt like any other. Fluorescent gas station lights, bitter coffee, a Powerball poster shouting numbers I never took seriously. I bought one ticket on a whim. 3 days later, I checked the numbers in my car on a lunch break, a sad sandwich beside me, engine idling. My brain lagged while my eyes sprinted. Match, 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 match. I went cold first, then hot, then useless for 45 minutes. After taxes and the lump sum, it would be about 8.7 million GRs. 8.7. I stared at my phone, thumb hovering over Marianne's name, and a movie played in my head. The squeal, the praise, the math, the shopping list that wasn't mine. Lena needs a house. We should retire. God blessed our family. Family. I put the phone down. I hired a lottery attorney, Patricia. All clean lines and calm eyes. She slid a glass of water toward me and spoke like someone who's seen the same storm. Most winners don't go broke on yachts. They go broke on family. Then she gave me the hardest assignment of my life. Tell no one. 6 months minimum. Observe. Keep your job, keep your car, keep your mouth shut. It felt like swallowing a sparkler, but I did it. I went stealth. If you've ever hit a miracle, you know the loneliness I'm talking about. I watched how people treated me when they had no idea I could change their lives with a wire transfer. That's where the truth crawled out. April rolled in with Marianne's birthday dinner, and it was the same choreography. Candles, a toast, then the soft voice, eyes glistening. Lena's rent is tight again. Could you help? I handed over $200 and watched the gratitude switch flip. Warm smile, conversation over. Not, how are you, Ava? Not, what's new? Just transaction complete. In May, Lena got engaged to a guy she'd known for 4 months and told me, to chip in $5,000 for the wedding, like she was asking me to pass the salt. When I hesitated, she rolled her eyes and said, "We'll talk later." Later meant, you owe me because history. I started taking mental notes like a scientist. Stimulus, response. Ask, give, ask, give, ask, give. Ava equals yes. Then January whipped in with a phone call that froze me. Marianne's voice trembled. Stage 3 breast cancer, surgery scheduled, insurance gaps, $30,000 needed fast. My stomach dropped. The urge to transfer money was a physical ache, but something felt off. The diagnosis was too neat, the figure too round. I told her I'd call back, then dialed her doctor's office. Routine checkup 2 weeks ago, everything's fine. The receptionist sounded apologetic, like she'd interrupted a dream. She hadn't, she'd ended a delusion. Marianne had faked cancer for money. I sat on my bed and felt my childhood collapse in a single exhale. My mother, the author of Family Helps Family, had just weaponized death to dip into my wallet. When I confronted her, she toggled through scripts like a DJ. Confusion, denial, tears, anger. How dare you call my doctor? You're cruel. You misunderstood. Then Paul got on, huffing about respect and how I make everything difficult. Difficult. Not right. Not true. Difficult. I hung up shaking, but something inside me clicked into place. The ATM wasn't out of service, it was closed. Permanently. I blocked their numbers for a week to hear my own thoughts again. Then I unblocked. Not because I missed them, but because I wanted the data. I wanted to be awake for the final exam. 2 weeks later, Lena texted, "Coffee? Just us." I agreed. At Starbucks, she ordered the most expensive latte and a pastry, didn't look at my wallet, then went in for the ask like it was a joke we both got. We found a house. We need $200K for the down payment. You're good with money, so. As if my financial stability was community property, I said, no. Not, I can't. Not, maybe later. Just no. Her face dropped the sweetness mask so fast it clattered. You've always had it easier, she snapped. You're mom and dad's favorite. Favorite. I laughed, a little unhinged. If you're watching this and your jaw's tight, breathe with me. She called me selfish, bitter, jealous of her happiness. I left $20 for the pastry she didn't finish and walked out. Want to know the worst part? Even then, I almost feel guilty telling you this. That's the programming. That's the scar that throbs when you finally say no. If you've been there, drop a comment. If this makes your blood boil, hit like so this story reaches someone still stuck in the role I lived. Because the next scene, that's where the mask gets ripped off in front of everyone. 2 days later came the family meeting. I almost skipped it, but curiosity can be louder than self-preservation. I walked into my childhood living room and saw the setup. Marianne and Paul on the couch like stern judges. Lena curled in an armchair, eyes glossy, a tissue already bald for effect. The vibe screamed intervention. Marianne started soft, voice honeyed and lethal. Ava, you're tearing this family apart with your reluctance. Reluctance. Then the sermon. Sacrifice, duty, Lena's future, how real families show up. Paul nodded like a bobblehead. Lena sniffled on cue. I listened. All of it. Then I asked the only question that mattered. How much have I given this family? Silence. So I answered myself. 63,000. The number hung in the air like smoke. What have you given me? I said it calmly. Not money. Support, acknowledgement, love without a receipt. The silence deepened. Marianne played her ace. If you won't help, maybe you're not our daughter. It landed like a slap. I waited to feel shattered. I felt light. I smiled. If that's the condition of being your daughter, then I'm not your daughter. The room broke. Voices rose, accusations flew, but a strange calm pushed through my chest like sunlight after a storm. And then, because sometimes life hands you a line that splits a timeline, I said 7 words. I won $8.7 million. The room fell dead. Marianne blinked first. What? I repeated it. 10 months ago, silent on purpose, watching, testing. Their faces shape-shifted faster than clouds. Shock, glee, calculation. Lena laughed too loudly and said, "Oh my God, this changes everything." Then she started listing down payment, wedding, furniture, a car, maybe just a monthly allowance so we don't have to ask. Marianne chimed in. Retirement, a lake house, medical savings for future needs. Paul finally found his voice. We raised you. We deserve security. Deserve. That word should come with a warning label. I let them talk themselves bare. Every line drew a map to the truth. They didn't love me, they loved my access. When they ran out of breath, I said the other 7 words that matter more. I'm not sharing any of it. The air cracked. Marianne's face twisted. That money belongs to this family. Lena spat. I hope you die alone with your money. Paul tried the dad angle. We gave you a roof. I said, you gave me conditions. And then I stood up. My hands didn't shake. My voice didn't wobble. You will not contact me again, I said. If you do, you'll hear from my attorney. I walked out while Marianne screamed curses that don't deserve captions. The aftermath was wildfire. Calls, texts, DMs from cousins who hadn't liked a post since 2016, suddenly writing essays about unity. I blocked them. Patricia, my attorney, sent cease and desist letters. When Marianne pounded my apartment door, sobbing and shouting, "You're cursed," I filed for a restraining order and got it the same week. I changed my number, my email, and my locks. I moved cities 3 months later. In my will, I put my money where my mouth is. Not 1 cent to biological family. If I vanish tomorrow, everything goes to scholarships, shelters, and food banks. Because here's the plot twist people don't expect. The best money I ever spent wasn't on me. I set up an anonymous scholarship for first-gen students working nights like I did. I paid off medical debt for 3 families drowning in bills from real illness, not invented diagnoses. I helped a single mom put down a security deposit on a safe apartment. after leaving a violent situation. I sent funds to domestic violence shelters, literacy programs, a community fridge that kept neighbors fed during a heat wave. You know what I got back? Handwritten notes with tear stains. A voicemail from a kid who said, "I didn't quit school because of you." Gratitude without entitlement. Help without strings. It healed something I thought was permanently cracked. Do I ever feel guilty? Sometimes, sure, conditioning is stubborn. But when guilt taps my shoulder, I replay the Starbucks scene, the fake cancer call. "Marianne's, maybe you're not our daughter." Then I remember the first night I slept 8 hours straight after the restraining order. The kind of sleep you forget exists when anxiety is your roommate. I wake up now without dread, gnawing the edges of my morning. I answer my phone without rehearsing a bailout. The money didn't buy peace. Boundaries did. That's the whole story I wish someone had told me at 20. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep your family warm. If any part of this makes your blood boil, hit like so it reaches someone who needs a push to say no for the first time. Drop a comment. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you share the winnings? Would you walk? Share this with the friend who's always the strong one, the cousin who pays for everything, the sibling who's one crisis away from burnout. And if you're that person, hey, this is your sign. Close the ATM. Change the PIN. Keep your soul. Here's where I land 1 year later, saying this out loud so I can hear it too. I didn't buy happiness with $8.7 million. I bought the space to finally choose myself and the courage to keep that choice. The peace? That came from boundaries, from letting the phone ring, from blocking numbers without writing essays of explanation, from understanding that love without respect is just soft control dressed up as family values. I still get flashes of guilt. It sneaks up when I'm grocery shopping or folding laundry. Little thoughts like, maybe I overreacted. Maybe I could have given a little. And then I remember the fake diagnosis. I replay the Starbucks ask for 200 grand like it was a latte refill. I hear, "Maybe you're not our daughter," and feel that slice across my chest. That's the moment the spell broke. That's when I realized I wasn't abandoning a family. I was leaving a system that required me to abandon myself. So let me ask you, am I in the wrong? If you were in my place, would you share the winnings to keep the peace, or would you protect your sanity and close the ATM for good? Be honest, I can take it. Drop your take in the comments because someone scrolling at 2 a.m. needs to read your perspective as much as mine. Here's what I learned, and maybe it helps you too. Boundaries aren't punishment, they're protection. Family helps family doesn't mean one person funds everyone's fantasies. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Real love survives the word no. Entitlement doesn't. I used part of the money to do quiet good, to cancel debts that were drowning real families, to open a door for first-gen kids who work the night shift and still show up to class. That felt right. Not performative, not transactional, just right. It reminded me I'm not cold, I'm careful. There's a difference. If this hit a nerve, if you've been the responsible one, the emergency fund in human form, take this as your nudge. You're allowed to choose peace over performance. And if this story stirred you, do the simple things that help it reach someone who needs it. Tap like, share it with the friend who can't say no, and tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my shoes? Am I in the wrong? Let's talk about it. Because maybe the bravest thing we do is say no, and then keep walking toward a life that finally says yes back.